Class 7th History, Chapter 2, Kings and the Kingdom. Many new dynasties emerged after the 7th century. Map 1 shows the major ruling dynasties in different part of the subcontinent between the 7th and the 11th century. Okay, this is झेलम रिवर. झेलम रिवर के उस साइड पे, झेलम रिवर के उस साइड है सैस. फिर इंडस रिवर पे है सैस. उधर है कश्मीर. ये है अरब ऑफ मुल्तान. दीज आर अरब ऑफ मंसूरा. ये है इंद्रप्रस्थ, यमुना के तट टाइप पे. यहाँ पे चहमन्नाज या चौहान कह सकते हो. यहाँ पे अनर्ता. चौहान के नीचे गुर्जर प्रतिहार. गुर्जर प्रतिहार के इधर की चंडेलाज. और ये प्रयाग हो गया. कन्नौज है ऊपर. ये बनारस. और एकदम यहाँ बांग्लादेश के आसपास देख लो, पालाज है, पहाड़पुर है. उधर है पहाड़पुर, कामरूप. नीचे उत्कल है. परमार्थ देख लो, नर्मदा ताप्ती रिवर. नीचे राष्ट्रकूटा, मालखेड़ या मानेखेत. ये ईस्टर्न चालुक्य, कलिंगा, गंगा, उत्कल. महानदी के ऊपर उत्कल, नीचे गंगा, फिर कलिंगा. उत्कल, गंगा, कलिंगा. फिर चोला, चेरा, पांड्या, लक्षद्वीप. Emergence of new dynasties. By the 7th century, there was a big landlord or the warrior chief in different regions of the subcontinent existing. In kings often acknowledged them as their subordinate or samantas. They were expected to bring gift for their king or overlord, be present at the court, and provide them with military support. As samantas gained power and wealth, they declared themselves to be the Mahasamanta, Mahamandaleshwar, the great lord of the circle or a region, and so on. Sometimes they asserted their independence from the overlord. One such instance was that of the Rajputa in the Deccan. Initially, they were subordinate to Chalukya of Karnataka. In the mid 8th century, मतलब 1750s के आसपास, दंती दुर्ग, a Rashtrakuta chief, he overthrew Chalukya overlord and performed a ritual called Hiranyagarbha, literally the golden bow. When this ritual was performed with the help of the Brahman, it was thought to lead to the rebirth of the sacrificer as a rebirth of a sacrificer Kshatriya, even he was not one by birth. In other cases, men were wall relief from cave 15 Ellora showing Vishnu or Narasimha, the man lion. It is a work of the Rashtrakuta period. In some cases, men from enterprising families used their military skill to carve out a kingdom. For instance, the Kadamba Mayur Sharman and the Gurjar Pratihara Harichandra, they were Brahmins who gave up their traditional profession. The Kadamba Mayur Sharman, Gurjar Pratihara Harichandra. Gurjar Pratihara के गुरु थे हरिचंद्र. They were Brahmins who gave up their traditional profession and took to arms, successfully establishing kingdoms in Karnataka and Rajasthan. कदम मयूर शर्मन ने कर्नाटका में करा था. गुर्जर प्रतिहार ने राजस्थान में. Administration in the kingdom. Many of the new kings adopted a high sounding title such as Maharaja Dhiraj, Great King Overlord, Tribhuvan Chakravartin, Lord of the Three Rivers, and so on. However, Maharaja Dhiraj, Tribhuvan Chakravartin. However, in spite of such claims, they often shared power with their samantas as well with association of peasant traders and the Brahmins. In each of these state, resources were obtained from the producer, that is the peasant, the cattle keeper, artisan, who were often persuaded or compelled to surrender part of what they produced. Sometimes they were claimed as rent due to a lord who asserted that he owned the land. Revenue was also collected from the traders. 400 taxes. The inscription of the Cholas who ruled in the Tamil Nadu refer to more than 400 terms for different kinds of taxes. The most frequently mentioned tax is Vitti, taken not in cash but in the form of a forced labor, and Kadmai or land revenue. एक हो गया वित्ती. वित्ती फोर्स लेबर हो गया. कदमई लैंड रेवेन्यू. Vitti forced labor, Vitti forced labor, Kadmai land revenue. There were also taxes on the thatching the house, the use of a ladder to climb palm trees, assessed on a succession to a family property. These resources were used to finance the king's establishment as well as for the construction of the temples and the fort. They were also used to fight wars, which were in turn expected to lead to the acquisition of the wealth in the form of plunder and access to land as well as the trade route. लैंड चाहिए, ट्रेड रूट चाहिए, प्लंडर पैसा चाहिए, फाइट वॉर और इस्टेब्लिशमेंट, construction of temple and the force. The function for collecting the revenue was generally recruited from the functionaries for collecting the revenue was generally recruited from the influential families, and position were often hereditary. This was true about the army as well. In many cases, the close relative of the king held the position. Prachastis and the land grant. Prachastis contain detail that may not be literally true, but they tell us how rulers wanted to depict themselves as a valiant, victorious warrior. For example, they were accompanied by learned Brahmins who occasionally helped in the administration. The achievement of the Nagvattamai ruler described the achievement in Prachasti. You read about the Prachasti of the Gupta ruler Samantagara last year. The one Prachasti written in Sanskrit and found in Gwalior, Madhya Pradesh, described the exploit of the Nagbhat. नागभट्ट की प्रशस्ति लिखी है ग्वालियर मध्य प्रदेश में. नागभट्ट थे कौन? ये प्रतिहारा के किंग थे. द किंग ऑफ द आंध्रा Sandhva, Vidarbha, part of Maras and Kalinga fell before him, even as he was a prince. He won a victory over the Chakra Yudh, the ruler of Kannauj, defeated the king of Vanga, part of Bengal, Anarda, part of Gujarat, Malwa, part of Madhya Pradesh, Kirata, forest people, Turushka, Turks, Vatsa, Matsya, both kingdoms in North India. Kings often rewarded Brahmins by the grant of land. Kings often rewarded Brahmins by grant of land, those who recorded on copper plate which were given to those who received. Kings often rewarded Brahman by grant of land. These were recorded on copper plate which were given to those who received the land. Kings often rewarded Brahmins. King often rewarded Brahman by grant of land. These were recorded on copper plate which were given to those who received the land. Kings often rewarded Brahman by grant of land. These were recorded on copper plate which were given to those who received the land. This is a set of copper plate recording grant of land made by a ruler in the 9th century, written partly in Sanskrit, partly in Tamil. The ring holding the plate together is secured with a royal seal to indicate that this is an authentic document. What was given with the land? This is a part of the Tamil section of a land grant given by the Cholas. We have demarcated the boundaries of the land by making earthen embankment as well as planting thorny bushes. This is what the land contains: fruit-bearing trees, water, land, garden, orchid tree, well, open sway, pasture land, a village, anthill, platform, canal, ditches, rivers, salt-laden land, silt-laden land, tank, granaries, fish pond, beehive, deep lake. He who receives the land can collect taxes from it. He can collect the taxes imposed by the judicial officer. He can collect the taxes from it. He can collect imposed by the judicial officer as fine. The tax on the betel leaf, those that on the woven cloth, as well as on a vehicle. He can build large rooms with upper stories made of baked brick. He can get a large and small wells dug. He can plant trees and thorny bushes if necessary. He can get canals constructed for irrigation. He should ensure that water is not wasted and that embankments are built. Unusual for the 12th century was a long Sanskrit poem containing a history of the kings who ruled over Kashmir. It was composed by an author named Kalhana. He used a variety of sources including inscription, the document, eyewitness account, and earlier histories to write his account. Unlike the writer of the Prashasti, he was often critical about the rulers and their policies, warfare for the wealth. You may have noticed that each of these ruling dynasties was based in a specific region. At the same time, they tried to control other areas. One particularly precise area was the city of the Kannauj and the Ganga Valley. For centuries, the ruler belonging to the Gurjat, Patiyara, Rashtrakuta, and the Pala dynasty fought for the control over the Kannauj. For centuries, rulers belonging to the Gurjat, Patiyara, Rashtrakuta, and Pala dynasty fought for the control over Kannauj. Because there were three parties in this long-drawn conflict, historians often described it as a tripartite struggle. For centuries, rulers belonging to the Gurjat, Pratihara, Rashtrakuta, Pala dynasty fought for control over Kannauj. For centuries, rulers belonging to Gurjat, Pratihara, Rashtrakuta, Pala dynasty. For centuries, rulers belonging to the Gurjat, Pratihara, Rashtrakuta, Pala dynasty fought for the control over Kannauj. Because there were three parties in this long-term conflict, historians often call it a tripartite struggle. Rulers also try to demonstrate their power and result by building large temples. So when they attack one another kingdom, they often choose to target temples, which were sometimes extremely large. One such ruler is Mahmud of Ghajni, Afghanistan. He raided the subcontinent 17 times with a religious motive. His target were wealthy temples, including that of Somnath and Gujarat. Much of the wealth Mahmud carried away was used to create a splendid capital city at Ghazni. Other kings who engaged in the warfare included the Chahamannas, later known as Chauhans, who ruled over the region around the Delhi and the Ajmer. They tended to expand their control to the west and the east. They were opposed by the Chalukyas of the Gujarat and the Gairwars of the western Uttar Pradesh. The Chahamanna ruler was Prithviraj III, who defeated an Afghan ruler named Sultan Mahmud Ghauri in 1119. Prithviraj III but lost to him in the very next year in 1192. A closer look: the Cholas from Urayur to Thanjavur. How did the Cholas rise to power? A minor chiefly family known as the Muttarayar held power in the Kaveri Delta. They were subordinate to the Pallava king of Kanchipur. Vijayalaya, who belonged to the ancient chiefly family of the Cholas from Urayur, captured the Delta from the Muttarayar in the middle of the 9th century. मतलब 800 के आसपास. He built the town of Thanjavur and a temple for goddess Nishumba Sudini there. एक मिनट फिर से देख लो. Cholas, ये minor chiefly family known as Muttarayar, Kaveri Delta, subordinate to Palwa king of Kanchipuram. Vijayalaya belonged to ancient Choli from Urayur, captured the delta from the Muttarayar. Actually the Cholas from chiefly family of the Cholas from Urayur, उन्होंने Muttarayar को हरा दिया. वहाँ पे थंजावुर बनाया and temple for the goddess Nishumba Sudini. फिर ये देखो पूरा आ गया। ये है आपका गोदावरी, गोदावरी के बाद ये कृष्णा। अब कृष्णा की है, कृष्णा और गोदावरी के बीच में है काकटिया, काकटिया, और ये है वेंगी, ये है साउथ कलिंगा। ठीक है, ये पूरा कलिंग है साउथ कलिंगा, ये काकटिया वेंगी। ये बनवासी है तुंगभद्रा में। फिर है नोलम बवादी, गंगावादी, मदुरई है, उरैयूर है, ये थंजावुर है। कावेरी के नीचे उरैयूर, थंजावुर, गंगाईकोंडा और चोलापुरम। ऊपर चालुक्य, झंडा, विक्रमादित्य। 4 6 these are Kalyani Kadambas. The Chola kingdom and its neighbor. The successor of Vijayalaya conquered in neighboring region and the kingdom grew in size and the power of the Pandyan and the Pallava. देखिए पांड्या हो गया और पल्लवा हो गया। चलो कैसे बदामी, बदामी भी कृष्णा रिवर पे है, कल्याणी भी ऊपर है। ओके, the Pandyan and the Pallava territories to the south of the north were made part of this kingdom. Raja Rajavan, considered the most powerful ruler, became king in 1985, expanded control over most of these areas. He also recognized the administration of the empire. Raja Rajasan Rajadevan continued his policy and even invaded the Ganga Valley, Sri Lanka and countries of the Southeast Asia, developing a navy for these expeditions. So Rajendravan and Raja Rajavan and Rajendravan, splendid temples of the bronze sculpture, the big temples of the Tanjavur and big temples of Tanjavur and Gangaikonda Cholapuram, built by Raja Raja and Rajendra. Tanjavur, Raja Raja, big temples of Tanjavur, Gangaikonda Cholapuram, Raja Raja and Rajendra are architectural and sculptural marvels. ठीक है, architecture and sculptural marvel. The temple at the Gangaikonda Cholapuram with the way and with the roof tapers. Chola and temples often became the nuclear settlement which grew around them. These were centers of craft production. Nuclei of settlement, craft production. Temples were also endowed with the land by the ruler as well as by other. The produce of this land went into the maintaining all the specialists who worked at the temple and very often lived near it. Priests, garland makers, cooks, sweeper, musicians, dancers. In other words, temples were not only places of worship, they were centers of economic, social and the cultural life. Among the craft associated with temple, the making of bronze image was the most distinctive. Chola bronze images were considered among the finest in the world, while most images were of deities. Sometimes images were made of devotees as well. Many of the achievements of the Cholas were made possible through the new development in agriculture. Notably, the river Kaveri branches off into several small channels before entering to Bay of Bengal. These channels overflow frequently, depositing fertile soil on their bank. Water from the channels also provide necessary moisture for agriculture, particularly cultivation for rice. Although the agriculture had developed earlier in other parts of Tamil Nadu, it was only after from the 5th or the 6th century that this area was opened up for large-scale cultivation. Forests had to be cleared in some region, land had to be leveled in other regions. In the delta region, embankments had to be built to prevent the flooding and the canals had to be constructed to carry the water to the field. In many areas, 2 crops were grown in a year. In many cases, it was necessary to water crops artificially. A variety of methods was used for irrigation. In some places, wells were dug. In other places, huge tanks were constructed to collect rainwater. Remember that irrigation works require planning, organizing. These are Chola branch sculpture. Planning, organizing, labor. प्लान करना पड़ता है, लेबर ऑर्गेनाइज करना पड़ता है, रिसोर्स ऑर्गेनाइज करना पड़ता है, मेंटेनिंग दिस वर्क, डिसाइडिंग ऑन हाउ water is to be shared. Most of the new ruler as well as the people living in the village took an active interest in these activities. This is the 9th century sluice gate in Tamil Nadu. It regulated the outflow of water from a tank into the channels. Outflow of water into the tank. Outflow of water from a tank into the channels that irrigated the field. A sluice gate is essentially a wood or a metal barrier which is commonly used to control water levels and flow rates in the rivers and the canals. Okay. Most of the new rulers as well as people living in the village took an active interest in these activities. Administration of empire. However, the administration organized settlements of the region known as the Ur. Region के settlement को Ur कहते हैं, became prosperous with the spread of the irrigation and agriculture. Group of such villages formed larger units called Nadu. The village council and the Nadu performed several administrative functions, including the dispensing justice and the collector. Groups of such villages collectively formed Nadu. Village council and the Nadu performed several administrative functions, including dispensing justice and collecting taxes. The rich peasants exercised considerable control over the affairs of the Nadu. Under the supervision of the central Chola government, the Chola king gave some rich landowners title like Muvendavelan, a Velan or a peasant serving 3 kings. Arayyar, chief, as a marker of respect and entrusted them with important office of the state at the center. Muvendavelan and Arayyar. Type of land. Chola's inscription mentions several categories of the land. Velan Vagai, land of non-Brahman peasant worker. Brahmadea, land gifted to Brahman. Shala Bhog, land for the maintenance of a school. Shala Bhog, पाठशाला होता है शाला भोग. देवदना Teruna Mattukani, land gifted to temple. Devdan. Devdan, Tiruna, Mattukani, पलीच चंडम लैंड डोनेटेड टू पलीच चंडम जो जैन को दिया जाता था उसे पलीच चंडम कहते थे। ब्राह्मण जो ब्राह्मण को दिया जाता था, नॉन ब्राह्मण पीजन को दिया जाता था वेलन वग्गी शाला बुक स्कूल के लिए, देवदान टेम्पल के लिए। तिरुनामत्तुकानी टेम्पल we have seen that the Brahmins often received land for grant as Brahmadi. As a result, a large number of Brahmin settlements emerged in the Kaveri Valley as in other parts of the South India. Each Brahmadiya was looked after by an assembly or sabha of prominent Brahmin landholder. These assemblies worked very efficiently. The decisions were recorded in detail in inscription, often on the stone walls of the temple. The Association of Traders known as Nagaram. Also occasionally perform administrative functions in town. Inscription from the Uttara Merur in Chingalpet district, Tamil Nadu provide details of the way in which the Sabha was organized. The Sabha had separate committees to look after irrigation, garden, temple. Name of those who is eligible to be members of these committees were written on the small ticket of palm leaf. These tickets were put into an earthenware pot from which a young boy was asked to take out the ticket one by one by each committee. Name of these eligible to be member. Okay. Some inscription and tags. Who could be a member of the Sabha? The Uttaramaya inscription. All those who wish to become the members of the Sabha should be owners of land from where the land revenue is collected. They should have their own home. They should be between 35 and 70 years of age. They should have knowledge of the Veda. They should be well versed in administrative matters and honest. If anyone has been a member of any committee in the last years, they cannot become a member of another committee. Anyone who has not submitted his account and those whose relative cannot contest the election and those of his state. Sabha inscription tells us about the kings and powerful men. Here is an excerpt from the Periyapuram, a 12th century Tamil work which inform us about the lives of the ordinary men. On the outskirts of Dadanodu was a small hamlet of Pulayas, a name used for a social group considered outcast by the Brahmins and the Villas, studded with a small head under the old thatches, inhabited by agrarian labor engaged in menial occupation. In the threshold of the huts covered with strips of the leather, little chicken moved about in groups. Dark children who wore bracelet of black iron were prancing about, carrying little puppies in the shade of the Muruda Arjuna trees. A female laborer put her baby to sleep on a sheet of leather. There were mango trees. From those branches drums were hanging, and under the coconut palm, in little hollows on the ground, tiny headed bitches lay after whelping. The red-crested rocks crowd the fort down, calling the brownie player to their day's work, and by day, under the shade of the kanji trees, spread the voice of the wavy-haired Pulaya women singing as they were husking paddy. Thank you.